Hello and welcome back to my channel. I've been posting for a couple of months now and have a few booktube videos up now. And I did do a video where I was talking about why I wanted to go into booktube and everything, and then I found this Booktube Newbie Tag, and it turns out that I answered most of those questions in that video without even knowing about it. So I wanted to still do this tag because I feel like that's a good way to get your name out there and get people, if they search new creators, they can look up Booktube Newbie Tag and maybe my video will pop up. So my name is Becky Duff. I live in Northern Canada. I've kind of putting my name out there as Mommy Reads. I have 3 kids. Daughter will be 8 on January 10th. My second daughter is 6, and then our son is 4. So very busy, and it is always a challenge to find good time to read and to do these videos. But here I am, and I'll get right into the Booktube Newbie Tag. So why did I start this channel? This past April in 2019, I asked some friends I wanted to get a little bit more into makeup, and everyone I asked about what their favorite brands of makeup were said to go on YouTube and look up tutorials about how to do makeup. So, and before I would look up a lot of, I do crochet, so I look up a lot if I didn't know a certain crochet stitch that I was working on, or you look up funny videos or whatever, but I wasn't really active on YouTube a lot. Sometimes, you go, like I said, you go to look up a video and then you end up down the YouTube rabbit hole. But besides that, I wasn't really active on it. And then I started watching these makeup videos. Yeah, I really enjoyed watching those. And then through that, I started seeing other videos. Like there was Nikki tutorials. Through that, I found James Charles. And then James Charles did one where it's like Blind Girl Does My Makeup. And so I discovered Molly Burke. She's amazing. She's also Canadian. She's 26 years old. She's a blind YouTuber. And so hers is just like a lifestyle vlog about, she'll answer questions about her disease and about living as a blind woman. She lives in New York or LA now. It's a guide dog, and just she'll answer questions like that or just vlog about things that she's doing in her daily life. So that was interesting. And then I was like, I'd like to get into YouTube and doing something. What would be something different and unique that I could do? And so I started doing mommy moments, which were just a couple minute videos about things just dealing with the real life of kids. My popular video is Peacicles, where my son decided he wanted to make popsicles, but he peed in the container and then was looking for the stick. And he's like, I peed in it. And very funny. And my son also dropped a can of wood stain down our stairs into the basement and stained the wall. So I talked a little bit about that and things like that. So I was discovering these new channels and different things on YouTube. I was like, I never hear anyone talking about books. So I looked up book reviews, and then this whole new world opened up to me. And I have been on BookTube, like watching it ever since then, and decided to kind of move my channel more into that direction, but still keep up with the mommy part. So one of the questions on here is, what is something unique about you? So that's a little bit about me and being a mommy booktuber and stuff. So yeah, I just wanted to start this channel to become more active. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I've been a stay-at-home mom for 6.5 years now. I worked for 9 months after our first daughter turned, she was 13 months old, and I worked at a daycare, and I got pregnant the same month I started, so I worked about 8 months. And I've been a stay-at-home mom pretty much ever since, so I've just been looking for something to do with my time. So yeah, that's how I started my like mommy booktube channel. What are some fun and unique things I can bring to booktube? So one of them was being a mom. I know there's other mom booktubers out there. If you watch the Lala videos, she does have a son that's I think a year older than my daughter. And I've watched a few other booktubers talk, and they do have kids, but mine are a little bit more active, I guess, on the channel. So that's something unique. I've also found a few other booktubers that are Christians, but they don't really talk about Christian books. They don't hide the fact that they're a Christian or that they go to church or they read their Bible, but I read a lot of non-fiction Christian books, kind of like the self-help type or testimonies or just theology, things like that. And I wanted to add a little bit more Christian book reviews. I've done the transgender, it's like God and the transgender debate or something that I read last year. That was a really good, interesting, thought-provoking book, and there is a review of that if you check out my channel. Behind me, a lot of my Christian books are here. But yeah, I just wanted to have a little bit more Christian nonfiction book reviews, as well as I read everything, not just Christian, but I wanted to add that part to Booktube, I guess. What I'm most excited about for this new channel, just connecting with new people, with other people who read. If my TBR has grown like crazy with a whole bunch of new books I'm so excited to get into, and discovering new authors and everything like that. Why do I love reading? So many people I have noticed have answered this question about mostly just a way of escaping reality, which is true. But I also, like with the nonfiction stuff, it's a way to learn new things, new ideas. Last year I was reading books by like women bosses or people who have started their own businesses and things like that. Yeah, you can learn anything, obviously, through reading books. And also like the self-help aspect of it, the growing in my spirituality, growing closer to God. I'm currently reading A Hunger for Healing, which is like the 12 steps and how to use them to grow closer to God and in your spiritual life. So I'm hoping that I can just have a better relationship with friends and family and grow closer to the people in my life through having healing for myself. And I love reading for those reasons.
Look what I found.
Oh yay, she found her container that we lost. Thank you, Maya. Good night. Anyways, where was I? Oh, why do I love reading? Why I love reading fiction books and stories, whether they're Christian or non-Christian. You can travel the world, you can discover new cultures, you can do all kinds of things through reading. But I also know from the beginning of time, people like stories. A lot of history is oral history. There's a lot of traditions in a lot of different cultures, like Native culture and stuff, for example. It's oral history. You sit around, the elders talk, they tell their stories. The Christian faith, we have testimonies. So people can share about a struggle they've been through and how they overcame it, and even like miracle situations that have happened in their lives. Whether you believe in God or not, or whether you believe in miracles or not, you know, it's still these like amazing stories, and however you want to explain it away, whether it's God or just coincidence, there's still some really incredible stories out there. And so you can connect with people, and we just, as the human race, we like stories. And even if you look at the Bible and read it just as a story of creation, or a story about a man named Jesus and things that he taught, it's still, however, whether you believe in the Bible or not, it's still a story. And we just love stories. So I think that's why a lot of people are connected to stories, whether it's through reading or through TV shows or movies. Or my husband, and I'm going to do a video with him later on about video games. There's some video games are very basic and there's not a lot of story to them, but there's some that are really quite in-depth, and it's quite a story that can really grip you. And it's very engaging because you're playing as that character. You're really actually getting into the role of that person. So I think that's why I love reading, because it's just built, I feel like it's built into us to enjoy stories. Yeah, you can connect, like it's different than a lot of movies or TV shows because you're getting inside the mind of the person and why they're doing these things, which doesn't always translate to other forms of media. What books or series got me into reading? So I grabbed a couple of books here. I will answer 2 questions. What book or series got you into reading, and when did you start reading? So I don't know what age I learned how to read, but I started reading a lot of books in school that we had to read. I found kind of boring and I wasn't interested in it, and I only read it because I had to. I hated doing book reports. I was like, I don't understand what's going on. I wasn't really an active, avid reader as a kid. But there were a few books that we had to read for school that really did grip me. One of the first books I remember that we had to read in school that really gripped me was, actually, there was a couple. There was The Rats of Nim, which I've watched the movies and it's not quite the same, but maybe that's a book I have to go back to and read again. I don't even remember why I found it so fascinating. I just really liked The Rats of Nim. Can't remember what grade. I think that was grade 7. I can't remember what grade, but we read The Borrowers. I remember seeing the movie when it came out in theater. That was like a field trip, so we must have read the book. And I actually have the classic book, The Borrowers. And I just recently actually bought another one while I was out called The Borrowers Afloat. So I'm excited to read that maybe with my kids. And one of the books I read, and I think it was also in grade 7, and then we watched the movie, was Where the Red Fern Grows. And I've talked about this in another video, so I won't talk about it again a lot here, but I just remember really... It's about a boy, and I don't know how old he is, but he's like 9, 10, 11, 12 kind of thing, and he just wants dogs. So he saves up all his money, he works really hard all summer and winter, and like saves up this money, and then orders these 2 dogs, and they are coon hounds, and they hunt raccoons. So he's out in the bush hunting these raccoons. He enters a competition to hunt raccoons. All this stuff, and I'm not a hunter. I do eat meat. I'm not a vegan or a vegetarian, but I'm not a hunter. I'm not a 10, 11, 12-year-old boy, but I just love dogs a lot. My dog's out there whining right now. And I think I just connected with it, with the boy and his companionship and his friendship with the dogs, and that's where I connected with this book. I was talking to my husband about it, and he bought this book for me. It was very sweet. Another book I remember reading as a kid, that it was a series, and I only have the last one in the series for some reason. I don't know where the other ones are, but I want to find them and reread them again, but I haven't been able to find them at a used bookstore. So Darkwing is copyrighted 2007, so 13 years ago already. So the other ones would have been like early 2000s that I read, but so Kenneth Opel, Darkwing, so it's a kid's book. The other books, Silverwing, Sunwing, and Firewing, and they're all told. The main character, the point of view is of a bat. And again, I don't know why, kind of like The Rats of Nim, just loved this story, and this series definitely got me into reading, and I really want to find the first 3 books and reread that again. Also something that I could, again, kind of read with my kids. Even if we don't sit and read the whole thing, we can at least sit through it, and I can read some parts of it anyways. And then as a teenager, around like 12, 13, my aunt gave me Judy Blume's Summer Sisters, and this is a book, I read it at least twice, I think 3 times, and my plan is to read it on the first day of summer this year. I don't read a book in a day, but to start it the first day. And it's just, it starts in 1977, and it's these 2 girls that they're friends. They meet every summer, and they become friends, and they're like sisters, basically, right? Like, they're such good friends. So, it journeys from when they're little until, like, their 20s, 30s. It might even go to their 40th birthday. It's been a while since I've read it. But I just think I've always loved stories like the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. I've never had a sister. I have a brother. I don't have a sister. I always wanted a sister. I always wanted friends that were like sisters. I have a couple of good girlfriends, but I just not quite like that. Hold on. Maribel, what do you want? That's my hound doggy. What's the matter? What are you barking about? Oh, she wants a belly rub. You big suck. Maribel, what's the matter? What's the matter? Anyways, I don't know what she's in here bugging about, but... So Summer Sisters was definitely a book that really got me interested in reading as I got older. And then Michael Connelly is one of my favorite authors that got me reading as I was like 15 when I discovered him, and his main series is about a detective named Harry Bosch. And yeah, I picked up one of his books at a garage sale one day and read it, and I loved it, and I've read like every book from him ever since. So that's Michael Connelly. Look at those ears. Look at those ears. Maribel. My husband is reading our daughter a story, and the dog wanted outside. So came in here to bug me about it. Better than going on the floor. Okay, so we're just going to move on to the next question where I'm going to go on a rabbit trail and I'm going to get lost. So, what questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? So, for me, it would be like, what software do you use to edit? I'm using DaVinci right now, Resolve, that my husband got because it was free and we don't have a lot of extra money to be spending right now. So I've been using that, but it's crashing and it's not working properly. And I wanted to make an intro for my videos, which should go up with this video. And I had my husband record, it was like 1 minute and 1 second, 61 seconds worth of video. And then I wanted to make like a 10-second intro out of it. And it crashed so many times. I had to restart the computer. I had to shut everything else off on the computer, like everything. I'm like, I just want to edit 1 minute. 1 minute to like 10 seconds with some writing on it. And like there's some editing involved in it. Yes, I'm not just shortening the video, but what do you edit on? But the biggest thing would be us needing a new computer or a laptop, which we don't have the money for. How do you come up with new ideas for your videos? Something unique and different, not just like book tags or something that everyone is doing, but how do you come up with your own creative ideas? And how do you find the time? Now, my husband keeps reminding me that these people, most of these people on Booktube are young. They're like in their 20s, late teens, maybe 20s, and don't have kids. So that definitely leaves more room, more time. But I know a lot of you guys work full-time jobs or are in school full-time, or maybe part-time school, part-time jobs, whatever. So that also does take up time. So just how do you carve out the time? Back to that question, what are some fun and unique things about me? I'm over the age of 30. So isn't that exciting? I'm old compared to the Booktube universe that I have found. What challenges do you think starting a Booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? So again, editing my videos. It's not something that comes naturally to me either. I'm not like a techie person or a visual arts person or anything like that. So editing the videos and finding the time to record and make the videos and finding new content as well. I'm not very good at budgeting my time. Time management is like a 0 for me, so just budgeting or managing my time in all areas of my life, definitely the challenge. Where do you read? I read everywhere. I read in the bath. I've seen a few people answer this question and be like, I hate reading in the bath. You wreck your book and blah, blah, blah. But that's where I get a lot of my reading done. In the bath, in bed, on the couch, and a lot of the time in the car for school pickup. Because I have, my youngest son is in preschool, so he's in school for 3 hours a day. So I drop off all the kids in the morning, and then less than 3 hours later, I have to go back and pick him up, and then go back again at the end of the day to pick up my daughters. And if you want a good parking spot, you need to be there at least 40 minutes early. So I get a lot of reading done in the car as well. Or if we're doing errands, we only have one vehicle, so sometimes we all end up going out together because there's stuff we have to do with the kids and stuff. And then if my husband runs into a store, then I'll sit in the car and read. And so we don't have to wrestle 3 kids at Walmart or something. And the last question is, what kind of books do you like to read? So I read basically anything. As you can see, I read books with boys and dogs. I've read books from the perspective of a bat. Summer Sisters. I just bought, you're actually propped up on it, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. I've never read that book before, so I'm excited to also pick up that. I just bought it this past weekend. My main genre of books, like the Harry Bosch books that are detective mystery books, is probably one of my favorites. He also writes a series which became a movie, The Lincoln Lawyer, which is Harry Bosch's half-brother. And if you have Amazon Prime, there's also a Bosch series that follows the books. Yeah, so the detective mystery, homicide detective books. I like thriller. I don't really read horror books. I don't like horror movies or anything like that. They scare me. I've read a Western before through book club. And it was good. It's not one that it's not a genre I go for. I don't read a lot of romance. I've read more recently, and I do like it, but that's not the one I gravitate towards the most. But I do like contemporary, and I've moved away from young adult books a lot recently, like in the last 5 years or so, but a lot of booktubers read YA, so I've been kind of getting a little bit more into it with some of the book suggestions on there. So, but I'm pretty much open to reading anything. I don't read a lot of fantasy and some sci-fi, but not a lot. Some historical fiction, not a lot. Mostly the crime, mystery, thriller is like my go-to ones, and then probably contemporary and romance. And another unique thing about me, and speaking of fantasy and sci-fi and all that and what books we read, I have never read or have any real interest in reading, maybe sometime in the future, have I ever read Harry Potter. I know, right? It was never, like I said, I didn't read a whole lot as a kid. It wasn't something I actively sought out. So when it was popular, well, it's still popular, but when it first was becoming popular, I wasn't interested in it. My friend was interested in the movies, so I saw the first couple movies with her, but again, it just never piqued my interest. And after The Prisoner of Azkaban or something like that, I never watched any more of the movies. So yeah, that's something unique about me, and I just lost like anyone who wanted to subscribe. But if you want to talk about other books, I am here for that. Anyways, thank you for watching. If you like what you see, hit like, hit subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!